Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to part 4 of our C# tutorial. This tutorial we will be going over GUI. Before we have been working with consoles and doing some of the background work, but now we're going to get everyone started with GUI. But yeah, so first of all, GUI stands for General User Interface, which is pretty much what you're looking at right here. It's pretty much what the user sees. Yeah, it's there. Yeah, I think that explains it pretty well. Alright, so to start, you go File, New Project. Instead of picking Console Application like we did before, you're going to pick Windows Form Application. So once you do that, it will generate a nice little form here for you. Right now we are in the Designer view. We can go to, I think we went over this in the first tutorial, but we can go to View, Code, and it would switch to the code view. So this is the code that's assigned to this form, which this is the design part of the form. Alright, so let's get you a little GUI working here, show you how things work. Alright, so this is your main form. This is where everything is laid out on. This right here is your properties window. We haven't worked with either of these before since we were doing consoles, but now we're getting a little bit more into it. We can work with our properties. So all of these are pretty self-explanatory. You can change the back color, different things, stuff like that. It should all be very... You can change... I always like to change this to fixed 3D sometimes. I don't know. It depends on what you're going for. Text, this is the title, so we're going to call this testing form. See, it changes there. Yeah, you can go through, decide what you want. Everything should kind of explain itself, but yeah. Alright, to our toolbox. These are all the default tools that come in our toolbox. You can get more by using components, class files, stuff like that. But these are an excellent start to whatever you need. They actually make it really easy for us to make a GUI. So all you do is, hold on, my phone's not charging. Yeah, sorry about that. I had to start charging my phone. It was almost dead. Alright, so all you do is, I like to go under All Windows Form, or I like to go under the Common Controls. Let's go under Common Controls for now. And all you do is pretty much pick your control and drag it onto your form. Then you can reposition it, resize it, and much like this main form, we can select our button, and we can change the property of this. So let's do testing. Oh, that was the name, my bad. Oh yeah, okay, that's kind of important actually. I'm glad I messed up. You name all of these all these controls, so that they can be accessed from your code. So, say you had something like, if button 1 is pressed, we have to name this button 1, which it automatically names it, but say if we wanted to name it, where's the name at? Name, where'd you go? You guys probably see it. There, okay, say we wanted to call this button test, that way we can reference that in our code. So, yeah, you can do a ton of different stuff. Each control has their own little properties thing. They should all be pretty self-explanatory. You should actually be familiar with some of them. You've probably seen them before. Yeah, this is kind of neat. Some of the controls, you have like a little arrow here, where you can do stuff like edit the items, like item 1, item 2, etc. You can change like the checked property. Checked equals true, and there we see it checked. Yeah, alright, so you can make yourself a pretty little GUI. So now we have to actually make these things do something. And this actually works very simply. All you have to do is click it, and you're going to see this little lightning arrow. This is your events tab. This is your properties tab. This is your events. Here's all the actions. So it will basically say we did click. There's a bunch of different ones. So we can do click, so it generates a nice little stub for us. So this is private void button test click, which if we look is assigned to the click button test underscore click button test underscore click. That basically means when this control is clicked, the code in this scope, one of our scopes, the code in this scope will be executed. So we could do message box dot show you clicked the button. Alright, and then maybe we can bring our if statements back into this. So we can say if checkbox1 dot checked equals true, then else. We just went over this in the previous tutorial. So we could say if the checked, remember we need two equals. Don't forget that. We also went over the two equals things before. Okay, so we could do message box show it is checked. Is not checked. So let's test our thing out. Once again, we debug it like normal. Then we're going to click our button. It's going to say the first thing, you click the button. Right there. And now it's going to say, since that is checked, it should say it is checked. It is checked. See, everything works out. Every control is kind of different. They all have their own thing. You can generally figure out which each one does by doing something like button 1, or what we call that, button test. Screw that, I forget what it's called. Checkbox. Oh, what am I doing? I have to assign it to something. Hold on, sorry about that. Okay, so we would do something like button.test, and we hit the period, and it will give us a whole list of events that we can do. So we can change how it's enabled. We can basically change anything. So we could take all this, we could comment it out. We learned about comments. So if we comment all this out, we could do something like button test dot text. You can set it equal to hi, so that when we click this button, hi, just change your text. There's a ton of different things. I would recommend looking up the documentation, because that's where you're going to find most of it, or you can just do the whole period and search through it here. Don't stress too much about worrying what each of these things does. You'll get used to it over time, I promise. So, let me double check I have nothing else to go over with you guys. Once you just switch back to your properties tab. Okay, custom components. There are a ton of different components available on the internet for download. Really popular one is .NET which kind of mimics this Windows Office thing. So you can pretty much make your own thing, make this nice little tab. Just look it up. It's .NET I believe it does cost money. There's a ton of components. And other people just write class files for custom components, otherwise known as like themes. So hold on here. Where's that at? Sorry, my desktop is a mess. So right here, this program right here is running a theme, which is, I believe it's the, I don't know, it's a theme by Maverick Martin. All it is just a class file. But yeah, just a little idea. We'll get into more of that later. Alright, see you.